wasn't an overnight thing, it was over a number of years. But now, when I look at what makes me joyful and what makes me successful, they're the same thing. And it has to do with Jesus in my life.
Perhaps another woman would fill my role. Perhaps another yacht would fill my void, another car. And I said a very simple prayer that we're going to pray together in just a few minutes. And as I prayed that prayer, the love of God came into this man's heart and began to transform me into a new creature.
So what I did is at 18 years old, I made an absolute decision to turn my back on God and to simply walk away. Did you ever turn your back on God? See, what I didn't realize is something that Jesus said, which is, I came to give you life and give you it abundantly, which is what I was charging after all along.
He said, all right. He said, now hold those coins up in front of your eyes. I said, okay. He said, can you see me now? I said, sure, I can still see you now. He said, all right, now hold those coins up close to your eyes like so. He said, can you still see me? I said, no, all I can see is the money now. He said, that's the message for you from God, because the message that I'm to deliver, as I'm doing today, is the message of eternal life or eternal death.
She said she was in love with another man and was leaving me that day. I had everything, but I had nothing. But at about 5 a.m., New Year's morning, 1987, while reading the Gideon Bible, I realized that I was separated from God by my sins.
And at the end of the breakfast that day, I opened my heart to Jesus Christ and said that I was going to start trying to establish a personal relationship with Him.
By the time I was 15, I had experimented with most of the vials of this world, experimented with pot and drugs and drinking and sex and all of those other things. And increasingly, I wanted to look good on Sunday, but I wanted to live wild the rest of the week. Since the time I was 18, I've just been, pursuing so hard, running as deep, as hard, as aggressively as possible. And when you look inside Pat Gelsinger, I want you to know that through all the success, through all the other things, that ultimately it's Jesus inside of Pat Gelsinger.
But I can tell you that I can see God's hand in countless ways. I can see doors open, I can see doors close. I can see good things happen, I can see bad things happen. I can see opportunities come, I can see opportunities go. And I attribute that to God's hand. And my job is to maneuver my way through the actions of His hands to try to find His plan for me.
And rather than proliferate my views on where high tech is going or the market, it's much more important to me that you make this decision. There's no way in my life that I want to reflect backwards and said I had the occasion to meet you, and I never shared what was most important for me and for you in life. And that most important thing is where you're going to spend eternity.
God desires a personal relationship with each and every one of us through His Son, Jesus Christ. So does it not make sense that He would want us to practice that skill with each other?
I remember thinking I didn't want to attend a prayer or anything, much less a breakfast with a bunch of Christians. And I remember picking the seat at the table, at the back of the table, closest to the doors, and kind of mapping my exit to the doors. I was certain that the forced conversions would start at some point during the program. And if someone had told me that morning in 2000 that I'd be up here 6 years later in front of 1,600 people sharing my faith in Jesus Christ, I would have told them that it would have taken a miracle.